we do have a plan. We're not just winging it.
Jenny, let's talk about your...
I said we're not just winging it.
Yeah, the line's cracking up there.
No.
Love, we can't quite... We're just going to fade you. It's going to fade you down a second.
That's okay. I don't mind. I'm flexible.
Just put him in Parc Fermé for a minute and then he'll be fine.
God. Yeah, we'll put you in the big Parc Fermé in the sky.
That's hard.
Hello and welcome to The Fast and the Curious, the F1 podcast that takes you inside the world of Formula One, speaks to the drivers and explains what the hell's going on. We do race previews, we do race... Excuse me, take this seriously.
Sorry, yeah.
We do race previews, we do race debriefs. We have Christian Hewgill on the line. Christian Hewgill, hello.
Greg James, hello.
I love this podcast. I got to say, I love listening to this podcast. Like, sometimes I don't feel like it needs me. I just like listening to it. I loved your Monaco debrief. Really fantastic.
Thank you. It was as chaotic as it sounded. And wasn't Molly brilliant?
Molly. Loved Molly. Really good. It felt lively. I could smell Monaco through my ears. And you gave a good summary. So not a classic race, but great news for Lando. Really exciting for the championship. A good return to form for him, and also a little bit of silencing of all the critics. That was good. Like he reminded everyone that he can drive well and fast and hold his nerve.
Lando was brilliant, and as I said on the debrief, he looked brilliant from like minute one. He was really good all weekend. From the minute he got in the car, he just looked more comfortable with it than Oscar. And I think, Greg, you're right. It sort of reminds everyone. F1's such a long season, and Oscar pulls a few race results together. And I'd said on previous episodes, there will be times when Lando does this. And to do it around Monaco, where it's arguably the hardest to do it all season, I thought was really impressive. So it's brilliant for Lando. I'm just pleased for him. We all like Lando on this podcast, so it's great for him personally. And I've said so many times this season, I don't care who wins. I just want it to be fun. And it's great for the championship because it's super close. So, and actually, I quite enjoyed the race. Controversial opinion, unpopular opinion, if you will. But I enjoyed the race, and I slightly enjoyed the albeit gimmicky pit stop thing. So listen, I had a nice time.
I love silly things, and I really enjoyed how George Russell got involved and the drivers were sort of taking the out of it. That's good. And him saying, maybe we should do a trip to the moon halfway through, or whatever he said. But it was really good. And yes, so big shout out to Molly Hudson for being a great Betty Glover replacement last week. Betty is not here today, obviously, but I am here. Christian Hewgill is here, and we're going to be joined very shortly by a celebrity Formula One and Fast and Curious fan. We have an actor who is currently starring in the massive Netflix show Heartstopper. She is a huge F1 fan as well. Her name is Jenny Walser, and she is going to be on very, very shortly. We're going to preview the Spanish Grand Prix as well. So what happens now, Christian? What's the word on the street? Sorry, or the word on the grid?
Well, the word on the grid is they're all quite tired because it is the end of this European triple header between Imola, and then we went to Monaco, and then we went to Spain. So this, Greg, is how quick the world of F1 is to pack up. That when I was before our podcast, finishing my work before leaving the circuit, the building I was in started to be deconstructed around me, and the Wi-Fi got turned off because the minute the checkered flag is waved, they're off to Spain. So Formula One, as we speak, as we're recording this on Thursday afternoon, is on Spain Media Day, and the world moves to Spain for the end of what's been a very intense triple header. Then we've got a week off. Then we temporarily dip out of Europe to go to Canada. So it's a very busy, intense few weeks for Formula One.
As well as talking about our big guest when she arrives in a second.
Well, she has arrived and is in the lobby. That's the breaking news.
Well, let's let her in. Jenny!
Knock, knock. Hello.
Jenny Walser, come in.
I'm in. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Welcome to The Fast and the Curious. Now, you met Christian Hewgill at Mighty Hoopla about a year ago.
About a year ago. It's happening this weekend, isn't it?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And then you met me a month later at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And here we are. My first question is: are you just at festivals every weekend?
I was thinking. I was like, I need to make it the trio by meeting Betty at a festival. Yeah, it was really bizarre. And then I think we sent Christian a selfie
You
We
did?
did.
Definitely
Yes.
did, yes.
We
Good
met
times.
in the early hours at
I think it
Glastonbury.
was, we'd put in a really good innings. I think it was, I don't even know. I'm not even going to say what time it was. It was early.
Yeah, but I remember seeing Jenny and then just going, oh yeah, oh my God,
Yeah.
Jenny, Fuzzy, Heartstopper, yes, yes. So here we are, finally, we
It
got
was
you
a
on the
bit of a shot
podcast.
in the dark. I think you were like wearing some sort of incognito, I don't know, some disguise.
He does wear a
But,
disguise a
I
lot,
was wearing a
yes. The fake
disguise.
glasses, the moustache, he
Yeah,
does that.
exactly,
Just to get
exactly.
through life, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great to get you on. We
Thank
want to talk
you.
about Heartstopper in a second, but I want to talk about your Formula One credentials and your passions
Well,
and your favorite drivers and your memories of it. And when did you get into it? And why do you love this ridiculous sport?
that's a very good question. Goodness gracious me. I mean, I am fairly new to it. I didn't grow up watching it. It's not something that my family ever introduced me to. I was obviously aware of the names Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button and Schumacher and things like that. But I think it was honestly quite a few years ago, maybe 3 years ago now. I was doing a play in Chichester, which is obviously really near Goodwood, the big old
Off of Festival of Speed.
Festival of Speed. And then they also do the Goodwood Revival as well, which is like the
I
old
love the
fashion
Revival.
stuff, which
Yeah.
Old cars, yeah.
still not been to either. But yeah, I was there like around the time that it was happening, and I didn't know that it was happening. But I just woke up one day and just the noise, like the air was just filled with this ridiculous noise of all of these engines. So I just remember that being sort of the soundtrack to my time there. And it's like, it's so energizing, it's so amazing. And I just sort of dipped my toe a bit, did a bit of research and started watching bits and bobs. But yeah, and then last year was, I guess, the first season that I've properly like followed. So yeah, I'm a baby Formula One fan, but I get quite geeky about it. So
Well, you're very welcome here, and look, yeah, we welcome the geeks, the ones that have just joined, because that's, you know, you got to join at some point. Everyone started somewhere. So what have you made of this season so far? Do you get to catch up with it and keep up with it all?
Actually, ironically, Monaco was the first one that I've actually sat and fully watched the televised broadcast start to end, which was just not the one to choose to do that on, was it? Because, well, nothing happened. But, well, I mean, not nothing, but I don't know what I was expecting, but I thought that the two-stop rule might do something, but...
Williams held held everybody up at one point. Something did happen, you know,
Yes.
come on.
Yes, true. And I am a Williams fan.
Oh, aren't we all?
Amongst others. One of my favourite things, if I'm honest, as we know, I am sometimes still up in the early hours of the morning at music festivals. And I kind of love, you know, the races that are on at weird times of day for us, you know, going on to the F1 website and finding out, or like picking it up halfway through and go, what? How's that happened? And then watching the playback like the next day at breakfast or something and trying to sort of decode what went on. I actually kind of love that, weirdly.
Do any of the other cast members of Heartstopper love Formula One? Have you found an ally to nerd out about, you know, Carlos Sainz's hair and things?
Oh, well, I mean, who wouldn't want to nerd out about Carlos Sainz's hair? But no, I don't think so. I know that Kit has been, I can't remember what team it was with. It might have been Ferrari. I know there's a few.
Like he'd fit in at Ferrari, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think there's a few of them that have like been to races with teams, but I don't know if any of them actually follow the sport so much. I don't want to like dob them in it, but yeah, I don't know whether they're like huge fans, but I'll make them into huge fans.
Yeah, you better. Now, we were just about to dive into previewing a bit of the Spanish Grand Prix, and Christian, I do believe that despite having so much to talk about, so the title fight wide open, a fantastic internationally renowned guest on the line, you want to go and talk about front wings?
Yes, please, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Now, Jenny,
See,
are you
Jenny's
okay
in.
talking about front wings?
I'm in.
What do you want to talk about? Make front wing chat Interesting.
I'm very excited by front wings generally. I often think about them first thing in the morning and last thing at night.
Yeah.
But this weekend in particular, they're important. They are the big thing everybody's talking about going into the Spanish Grand Prix. And I shall tell you for why. Because the FIA announced in January that there'd be stricter tests on wing flexibility. Wing flexibility. Remember that. Now, flexible bodywork is banned in Formula One. But there is a tolerance, and the leeway, the said tolerance, is being reduced from this weekend from 15 millimeters to 10 millimeters. Maths fans, that's a reduction of 5 millimeters. Five. Thank you, Greg. Five of our international millimeters. Now, the reason this is banned is because basically if the cars were flexible and moved, it would help with downforce, but F1 teams always try and push the boundaries to gain advantages, they try and push the regulations to the limit. They try and bend, if you see what I've done there, the rules. They try and exploit grey areas to try and get performance and advantage over each other. And this flared up last year with flexible rear wings. People thought McLaren were gaining an advantage from having a flexible rear wing. This year, it's all flared up with flexible front wings, and there's been a bit of between the teams of going, oh, your front wing's too flexible. No, it isn't. Oh, well, we'll see when they bring in the new technical directive. It's a bit less camp than that, but honestly, not much. Honestly, not much. So basically, this weekend, there's a bit of a reset on wings, and obviously, flexible wings help downforce. They help the car stick to the track. If your car sticks to the track better, it achieves higher speeds. And also flexible wings help you take less out of your tyres. And one of the reasons McLaren are quick is because they don't wear the tyres as much as some of the other teams. So it will be interesting to see this weekend whether or not this sort of reset makes a difference. Jenny, have I made wings sexy enough, do we think?
I think just about. Yeah, I think you've done the best that you could there.
Greg?
Yes. Well, I'd like to know what you think will happen. What's your prediction?
Greg, as this podcast resident Formula One expert, as someone embedded within the sport, as someone who lives, eats and breathes Formula One, I don't know.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't think anyone does. I am the first to admit on this pod when I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people will say they do know. I don't think they do. McLaren have been very punchy and adamant in saying this will not eke into our advantage. I don't think they'd be as bold and punchy if it didn't. We found Ferrari were better around slow speed corners in Monaco than we thought they would be. There's a lot of slow speed corners in Spain. Will that have an impact? I don't think anyone knows, but let's keep an eye very early on this weekend on Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes and McLaren. They're the four teams that if it's going to affect, you would imagine it would affect one of them the most. McLaren are the sort of obvious ones because they're the quickest car. They're the advantage. But I don't think we know until Friday practice and crucially probably qualifying happens. But it might change a bit. It might be a bit of a reset, might change absolutely nothing.
Is there already data available to us as to how flexible the wings have been running so far? Or is that guarded secret?
Great question.
Great question. The teams will have their own data on how much their wings are flexing. Mm-hmm. That sort of data is not made public. That is the sort of data that's kept very tightly secret. And it's why F1 fans on TikTok and on F1 Twitter, which I know Twitter's not much of a thing anymore, but it's still massive with F1. That's why people get very excited when they go and do the slow-mo replays and see, and they go, oh, that McLaren one's moving a bit more. Look, it's moving. And people highlight it with the paint app on the iPhone and go, look, it's moving. Look, it's moving. They're cheating gits. Look. And it's like, let's just calm. There is a leeway, as we said earlier. So that's why people get really excited about the close-up camera angles. But it means the FIA will be asking for data, going, all right, prove your wing is within the range. And they'll be on that this weekend. Some important-looking people with clipboards going, I'm imagining they've got clipboards, I don't know, I've made that up, going, right, let's make sure your wings aren't flexing enough. That's why wings are such a big talking point this weekend, and why if you're a more casual fan, you might just flick on the telly and they're all going, right, let's talk about front wings. That's why it's important this weekend.
Well, I mean, the thing is that the casual fan who's going to switch off the telly if they're talking about wings has already from this podcast. So
excuse
well,
me.
no, I'm just saying. No, I liked it. I'm not a casual fan. I'm in.
You converted
I'm in.
some casual fans. You converted casual fans into
Hopefully, we always want to decode and lighten up some of the bits of this sport, and that's fine.
We do have a plan. We're not just winging it.
Jenny, let's talk about your.
I said we're not just winging it.
Yeah, the line's cracking up there.
No.
Love, we can't quite. We're just going to fade you. It's going to fade you down. Second.
That's okay. I don't mind. I'm flexible.
Just put him in park fair mode for a minute, and then he'll be fine.
God. Yeah, we'll put you in the big park Ferme in the sky. So, Jenny, let's.
Yeah.
Very, very harsh. Let's talk about your allegiances. You've mentioned Williams. Talk to me about the Sainz move at the start of this season. Were you excited by that? Did you feel that it was a good move for him and the team, or just the team?
I was obviously a little bit surprised, but at the same time,
so was Carlos.
I think he was. I was going to say.
Well, I mean, he left it, so there was a lot of time spent dilly-dallying. So I think it was. I think actually the smarter, and it's turned out to be the smartest probably decision. And any time that you hear James Vowles speak, you're just like, yeah, sure, I believe you.
Yeah.
If anyone was going to convince him to go somewhere that maybe wasn't looking ideal, it would be him. And yeah, I think also the driver pairing has turned out to be really interesting, I think, because they're both pushing each other. And I feel like Albon is someone who, because he's sort of always been slightly more in the background in races, well, certainly since being at Williams, he's just like the cheeky chappy. Everyone just thinks he's sort of a bit of a laugh, whatever. But he's become quite ruthless. And now that we're getting to hear more of his radios, because he's further up front of the field, I'm really liking what that dynamic is doing to his performance, I think, as well.
That's a really interesting sort of part of this sport, isn't it? That the funnier drivers aren't just funny. Of course they're not. These are ruthless, insanely competitive people. And you're right, giving Albon a taste of some points will make him go, hang on a second, this is for the taking here. So that's been a really interesting shift in the narrative with Williams, hasn't it? Who else do you keep a close eye on? Who do you root for? Who I'll give you three, okay?
Okay.
And I want you to rank them. And so if you're this weekend, for example, you've got your top three on the last couple of laps, and any of these three could take the victory. You've got Lando, you've got Oscar, you've got Lewis.
Oh, you cruel mistress.
I just wanted to throw that in. You know, what's your 1, 2, 3?
That's hard. Very, very harsh.
Very, very difficult to answer, but this will tell a story.
To be harsh, I just don't think Lewis will even be there anyway. So there's that.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, it's not. He's just not
stopping some hearts, breaking some hearts.
Something is not gelling right now. I'm not saying that it won't at some point, but I love Lewis, and like the only live race I've ever seen was Silverstone last year when he won, and I cried. So he pulled up literally right in front of. I was watching it at Escapade. It's called. It's that new.
Yes, they helped us with our first show of the season. Thanks, Escapade.
There you go. Yeah, shout out Escapade. And he pulled up to get his flag like right in front of us. It was the most insane thing I've ever seen. So obviously I would love for him to win. But I would go Oscar, mainly because, and I wish I had footage of this or some sort of proof, like even before last season had ended, I was saying to everyone that cared to know, and even the people that didn't, I was like, Oscar is winning the world championship next year. Yeah. So, I mean, so far it was looking good. Now it's looking, but I mean, we know how much everything can just change within a race.
So it's Oscar's your boy.
I think my money's on Oscar. I think he's just got that cold, ruthless.
He has.
Don't know.
Jenny, we're going to take a very short break, and we'll come back next and talk more about Lando and Oscar, who are separated by just 3 points in the title fight. And that is next on The Fast and the Curious. God, those adverts were good.
Oh, really good. Because you can, I didn't know this, Greg, until recently, but like money, you can trade for goods and services. It's great.
Yeah, one day this podcast will make some. Anyway, It's lovely to be here, and we love our listeners dearly, and we thoroughly enjoy doing this podcast. You know, there's no other reason for doing it.
Quite literally. Would like
Jenny.
people to sponsor it.
Jenny, lovely to have you on. Let's talk Lando and Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating. As a storyteller yourself, as an actor, that's a great story that's evolving and mutating and just getting more interesting week by week, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. What is it? There's like is there 3 points between them now?
3 points. Oscar's on 161 with 4 wins. Lando is on 158 with 2 wins.
Also, because they've taken away, because they've taken away the point for fastest lap. Correct. I think if he'd got that, he would have been, well, I don't know.
I think, I believe I saw that statistic too, that if they'd kept that, he'd be leading the championship. Yeah, but alas.
I mean, it's neck and neck in the most interesting way. And obviously the fact that they've decided they don't have a number 1, number 2 is, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think it makes sense for them to have a number 1 or number 2 unless one of them was, without a doubt, unable to win. I think for the time being, it makes it much more interesting. And also, you know, if teams do what we saw the Racing Bulls and Williams do and sort of tactically just hold up the rest of the team to let their number 1 win, it's just not the most interesting kind of racing, is it? So
well, it isn't, but fortunately you can only do that at Monaco because anywhere else people are just driving past.
True.
So
although Spain's
we won't
quite
see
hard
any more
to
of that.
overtake as well, isn't it?
It is tricky.
Can I ask a probing question, Jenny, about your career? And I wonder what the parallels might be with having to work in a team ensemble cast, for example, but also wanting to be the very best you can be. How do you, as an actor, deal with the competitive element of it? Because you want to be great and have a great career and do your thing and get the next gig and the next thing and, you know, whatever, and whatever your dreams are, win Oscar or whatever it is. But you also need to be mindful of working in a team.
That's a really good question. It's quite a difficult one. I think with acting, you can definitely drive yourself to insanity if you really put all the pressure on yourself. And, you know, if you get ultra competitive and sort of start keeping information to yourself about auditions and you don't want anyone else to be auditioning because they'll take your part and things like that, it's just ugly emotions and it's not helpful for anyone, because I'm kind of a big believer of what's for you won't go by you kind of thing. But also that just sort of takes the responsibility out of your hands. So maybe that's why I like that saying. But I think it's ultimately going to be better for you if you play the team game. I kind of think, you know, if you're sharing information and, you know, ultimately if you sort of karmic, I don't know what you'd call it, if you help someone out, then they're more inclined to help you back and things like that. So that would be my inclination. Also, nobody likes working with, so
that's true. That's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, I get on with Christian. Okay, I managed to work that through, but it's interesting though, isn't it?
Hard for you though.
You don't want to risk, if you're Oscar and Lando, you don't want to risk it and go, you have it this year, mate.
Oh, absolutely not.
Karma will say it'll be me next year.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
I mean, obviously, no. Like, I think like in terms of if there was an unfair overtake or gained advantage or something, and then giving the place back, little things like that. But obviously, they add up. So if it came to, you know, it was important enough to be a race clinching or world championship affecting thing, then no, be ruthless, every man for themselves. But
it doesn't feel like that on the I'd love to talk about the show that has become a global sensation, by the way. I would love to talk about your character, Tori, Charlie's older sister, who had a much bigger he had a much bigger role in series 3, which is fantastic. And it's nice. Lovely to get your teeth into stuff and some quite serious things around Charlie's mental health and his eating disorder. And it feels like a wonderfully supportive team of people making that show, because it has to be, because the stuff you're talking about is impactful and has a a hugely positive impact on the viewers. I mean, the young minds that are watching those stories play out so beautifully, that's an amazing thing that you've put out into the world. But get that wrong, and there's serious implications, aren't there?
Yeah, there'd be some angry fans of the books as well. So
yeah,
thank goodness that hasn't happened. Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility, but it's one that, you know, I think we're aware of it and we take it very seriously, but we also don't. We try and keep things quite light. Again, it's like if you let that pressure really pile on top of you, then it will just be a bit crippling. It's a lot of fun, and the group are every bit as lovely as you'd think.
You do such a great job, because regular listeners to this podcast will know that I am a full-time homosexual, and it's the show that I wished I'd had when I was a kid. Like, it's just so beautifully done. It's not stereotypical in any way. It's so intelligently made. And the number of kids, I think, that will watch that on Netflix and think, oh, this is okay. I can have feelings for the rugby player who sits next to me in school or whatever, and think, oh, this is fine. And oh, it's beautiful. And Jenny as well, there can't be that. And I know this is not a great thing to say to an actor, because of course you're different people. It's the very nature of acting. But also, there can't be many people who are playing such different characters to themselves, because the first time I met you, it was like, you are so warm, and it's like, whereas your character is almost, in a way, Tori's quite terrifying in a way. Like, she's like business-like, and it's like such a transformation from you. That must be a lot of fun to play.
It is. I mean, the funny thing is that there's an element of her in me for sure. Like, she's much more similar to maybe what I was like when I was younger. Because
really, that's fascinating.
I am quite a little bit older than the character I'm playing, but yeah. So there's definitely elements.
Glad you said it.
Oh dear.
It's fun though, isn't it?
It's really.
I'm quite
really
a bit
good.
older than the character I play.
Yeah,
younger, quite a bit younger.
That's why I've got the fringes. I'm just covering up all the wrinkles. I'm actually 80 years old. It's just
great moisturizer.
Yeah. I've got a filter on this screen at the moment. So also, I don't think I'd have many friends if I behaved like her. She's kind of. It's funny. I was thinking the other day. I think that her and Max Verstappen would really get on.
Yes.
Yes, she's
they
got
would.
That sense of humor is very. It's the dry kind of. What was it? If my mum had balls, she would have been my dad kind of vibe. Like yeah, it's that.
No nonsense. Okay, so Tori would be friends with Max Verstappen.
I think
Tori
so.
would.
Yeah.
Okay, who's Charlie's favourite driver then? In that case,
Charlie's favourite probably like Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, of course it's Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, or Sainz. Like, I think he'd probably just have mad crush on both of them, because that's only natural. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about how it ends then. Not literally, because we're not allowed to know.
No, I
but
literally
the movie. Where are you with the movie? Because that's going to be the final bit, isn't it?
Really good question. I don't know that much. I actually don't even know when I'm starting to film. So that's good. Things are always. I think people assume that in the film and TV world, in showbiz, everything's much more organised than it is. So we are filming very soon, I believe. There was talk of maybe a read-through tomorrow, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fun. So you might
sorry,
see
that's
the
probably
script
not putting
tomorrow.
it in a very good light. I have read an iteration of a script.
Okay.
I don't think it's the latest, but I have seen how it ends. So that's exciting.
And Tori's a big part of it.
I'm in it. That I could say that I'm in it. Yeah.
You're in it.
If they don't live happily ever after, I will probably cry for a year.
Yeah. Well,
Just putting that out there, Jenny.
I think there's going to be some tears, regardless of whether it's happy ending or not. I think
I can't deal with that.
The nature of the show.
I had to, and Jenny, I told you this. I delayed watching season 1 to season 2 and 3 because of a breakup. When season 2 came out, I'd just gone through a breakup. I was like, no, can't deal with this. Can't deal with this at all.
I think that was wise.
Yeah.
Probably.
Then I've caught up. Then I binged 2 and 3 together. Now I'm a bit more okay, hun. Now, and then I binged it, and it was like, oh, this is glorious. But I'm gonna have to mentally prepare myself for that film. I can't see it in the cinema because A, I don't like people, and B, I'll just cry and cry and cry. So,
well, I don't know if it's.
Great.
I don't actually know if it's coming out in cinemas.
I hope not, because I can't stand.
I think it might just be like a Netflix movie.
Yes,
but
that's fine. They can close all the cinemas for all I care. Yeah.
Come on then, Christian, let's wrap up the preview episode and let Jenny get back to her life and maybe reading the script. We need to talk about what's if you're writing the script this weekend, then what are you writing? Who's winning?
Well, I think it's really interesting, but I think the Spanish Grand Prix reminded us that even though we've seen Oscar improve so much this season, we have seen last year, Lando had more days when he was the quicker McLaren driver than Oscar. We already know from a third of the way through the season that it's going to be way closer between the two. And let's be honest, we've seen Oscar have more good days this season in comparison to his teammate than Lando. But Monaco just reminded us Lando cannot be written out. I think this title is going to go down to the wire. I'm not saying that to overhype. I'm really not. I think these two will continue to, one will have a better weekend than the other. And I think it will give a confidence boost. So I'll be fascinated to know which one of these carries on that momentum this weekend, because Lando did have such a good weekend in Monaco, and I think it'll have done him the world of good. So I am buzzing for this weekend.
Max Dino has a question. He says, might this be the last we see of Barcelona for a while? Now, Madrid will be on the calendar next year.
Yeah, so this is the last Spanish Grand Prix in this iteration at the Circuit de Catalunya. Next year, it goes to a street circuit in Madrid, so we'll have a new circuit next year. This has been quite controversial because some F1 fans think there are too many street circuits. Listen, this circuit is not brilliant for modern Formula One. And all right, I do sort of get it that the new Madrid layout doesn't fill me full of excitement. But whether we like it or not, this is the last Barcelona. It might stay on the calendar and rotate. It might come back as, for example, the Barcelona Grand Prix. This might not be the dead last we see of Barcelona, but it is certainly the last Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Catalunya for a while, because it's in Madrid next year.
Shona has one final question for us. She says, is Daniel Ricciardo being in the new F1 advert meaning anything?
Well, Shona, I don't know if it is Daniel Ricciardo. Greg, have you seen all of this?
I haven't, actually.
Jenny, have you seen this?
No, I don't think.
Okay, so F1 has an official partner for everything. F1 is one step from having an official pillow partner, an official glass of water partner. Like, they have an official partner for absolutely everything. And PepsiCo offer many things. Doritos, for example. Powerade announced to become a new official partner, and like there's going to be an energy drink that's an official partner. And at the end of this advert, it closes into a Formula One driver that looks like Daniel Ricciardo. And so the internet has gone mad with, oh my God, is this a hint that Daniel Ricciardo's coming back? Let's bring everybody back down to earth with a bump. No. It isn't. Whether that's Daniel Ricciardo or not, and I doubt it is, I totally get that it looks like him. From what I understand, Daniel Ricciardo will not be coming back to Formula One anytime soon. There is no paddock talk of a Ricciardo comeback. The only seat that would be realistically available is Cadillac, the new team next year. From what I'm hearing, Daniel isn't in contention for that. I don't think Daniel Ricciardo is coming back to Formula One, and I don't think him being or not being in this advert should have anything read into it. So I've ruined that for a lot of people, and I'd like to apologise, but I don't think that's a thing.
Apology accepted.
I don't feel like he'd want to come back. He
I
already
agree
had a
with
sort
you,
of mini comeback of types, and then he was disrespected in such a big way. So I think he's happier and better off, probably.
Yeah, let's leave it as it is, as a lovely memory, and as a lovely man who can be funny and do his own podcast or whatever it is. So thank you for your questions. You can join us again for our debrief. We'll be back on Monday. Betty Glover is going to be on with Crofty from Sky Sports F1. They're going to do the debrief on Monday. Jenny Walser, thanks so much, and good luck with the final instalment of Heartstopper. We cannot wait to see how it all concludes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Do you want to do some quick predictions before we go?
What, me? Or everyone?
Greg, I was asking Greg more as the team principal.
Oscar.
You're going to Oscar win, are you?
Yeah.
Jenny?
I'll shake it up. I'll go Lando.
You're going Lando. Tricky circuit to overtake on.
Max, he's saying Max.
So qualifying is going to be key.
Yeah.
And with Lando's stunning qualifying lap in Monaco, I'm backing him again. So I'm going to go Lando again. I think he was really good in Monaco. So let's go Lando for me for the win.
I should have gone left field and gone like Lance Stroll or something.
Carlos at home. Carlos from Fernando, a Spanish one too. There'll be a street party. Oh, it'll be fantastic. Yeah, could you imagine?
Fernando needs some points. If Fernando gets a point, that is a win overall.
Oh, he was so unlucky in Monaco.
Yeah.
Bless him. So yeah, it'd be great for him to get his first points of the season at home because he drove so well over the Monaco Grand Prix weekend. He really was old school Fernando. So yeah, but yeah, we're back on Monday, Greg. Well, we're not. Me and you aren't, Greg. You're on the radio and I'm on holiday, but Betty and Crofty will be here, so that'll be nice, won't it?
Enjoy that. Make sure you're subscribed to the feed, and we'll be back on Monday. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye from the Fast and the Curious.